Thank you for joining us again in the Dorsey Green Spotlight. We have a very special guest today. As you know, we are celebrating Dorsey past, present, and future. And what better person to talk to us about the past, the present, and the future than our guest? I'm going to ask him to introduce himself. Dr. Nealy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Eric Scott Nealy. I am a recent PhD graduate from the University of Washington. I went to Dorsey High School from 2004 to 2008. My older brother and my father also went to Dorsey, so we're a long line of Dons. After Dorsey, I went to UCLA for my undergrad, and then I went to University of Washington for grad school. And currently, I am in Seattle, Washington. I do cancer research as a profession. It's been my passion since I was in high school, actually. And looking forward to discovering novel cures that are a lot less harmful to the patient than what's currently available.
Very, very, very interesting. Um, let's go back a little bit into the past. Uh,
Mhm.
go back to
Oh,
Dorsey high school years. Can you describe a little bit of what was your mindset back then? What were you thinking? Did you see yourself where you're at currently, or did something happen in the past that changed, your outcome? Going back into your years at Dorsey High School, what was it like?
so I would say that my favorite subject in school was always science, but I didn't have a career goal in mind until I actually got to Dorsey. So my freshman year, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so seeing her go through chemotherapy and radiation and how that made her really weak and sometimes unable to get up from the bed to get food, that turned what was just an interest in science into, well, I want to do something about this. Now, I didn't know in what way. A lot of people who I told I was interested in like science would say, "Oh, you want to be a doctor, don't you?" I'm like, well, I guess so. I don't know what else is out there, right? So I actually participated in an after-school program called MedCore at USC. So every Saturday for years, from like basically freshman year of high school to my senior year, I'll go to USC's campus. I'll get exposed to, uh, doctors and scientists of color who mentor the students, help us with their homework, SAT prep, college entrances, things like that. And basically, I saw myself reflected back at me, already made it to that goal. And so it was all students from, South LA area, like Dorsey, Crenshaw, Manual Arts, things like that. So it was all basically people who look like me doing the career that I wanted to do in the future. And through MedCore, I think maybe my summer, my going from 11th grade to 12th grade, I spent a summer at the USC uh, LA County Hospital, and I got to work in a lab with a HIV researcher. And that was really my first time getting exposed to an actual scientist. I'd only seen them on TV, and in general, they were old white guys, and they seemed so disconnected from me. But this was a woman of color I worked with, and I got to experience a lot of cutting edge research that is now probably more known, but 10 years ago, no one had known about. And that was so fun just getting to know like this brand new stuff that no one else knew about. And I can teach my parents. My mom was really excited about what I was doing in the lab. And I think that really sparked my drive towards, oh, I just like science as a class, to I want to do something about cancer, to I want to be a scientist now that I know what a scientist does. And then from there, it's history.
So let's go into the present and your accomplishments. Let's talk a little bit about that. So you went and you took all this information and opportunities, what Dorsey provided, what your universities provided, and then ultimately it was you. You are the one that took those steps. So let's go to the present. What is happening currently with you? Tell us a little bit more about what just happened.
So, 8 days ago, I just defended my PhD thesis and I passed. So now I have a PhD. I'm the first person in my immediate family to have that degree. It's a little new to me. It's kind of like having a birthday and you still feel like you're the previous age. So I may not call myself Dr. Nealy for a while, but you can if you want to. Um, so basically, my project was about, can we get the white blood cells in your brain to attack a brain tumor, as opposed to relying on chemotherapy and radiation, which, as I mentioned to you before, is very harmful to the patient itself. And this is very much in line with what I wanted to do back in high school. I wanted to find, cures and therapies that are better than what's available today. And what better avenue to turn to than your own body, your own immune system, and basically unlocking the secrets into making it attack the cancer for you. Because I don't know if you know, but cancer has a lot of ways to sort of trick your immune system into helping it grow or just outright ignoring it. And so we're actually just giving them a target to go after, and then they will attack it like they will bacteria or viruses. So I thought that was really fascinating. It was a lot of challenging work, but I think that my experiences growing up, some of the teachers I had at Dorsey, like Dr. Singleton, Mr. Bradley, for example, they set me up to knock down a challenge when it's placed in front of me. And so I chased it down and got my PhD out of it.
You know what? I also think it's very exciting, and I really want to highlight, what you stated earlier because we just uh, talked about Dorsey Black excellence. We talked about celebrating Black history during Black History Month, and that topic comes up regarding Black excellence and what it means. And you stated that the same thing that we all know, that we are trying to find those that look like us, and we grew up with media that never had the those that look like us. We didn't have those role models, and maybe they existed but we were not exposed to any of them. And so I think it's very exciting that we have somebody so close to us that has accomplished and what you just did, defend your PhD and now become officially a doctor. And Dr. Nealy, that that title means a lot. I really do admire the hard work and dedication, and at the same time, you pursue something that you were passionate about. But is very amazing that we are in 2021, and we still have a hard time finding those role models, those that look like us, and here you are doing that work. So in the future, most of us grow up not thinking, oh, we're going to be role models from for somebody. And I really do think that you are one, and that's the reason that I want to highlight you as an alumnus, because I want students to see you and to know that you came from the same background. You look like many of them, and look at where you're at right now. Right now in 2021, becoming a doctor and doing really cool stuff. I mean, really awesome. And your attempt to cure cancer for a very good reason. So I wanna ask you in the future. Um, Yourself as a person, where are you going, and if you can give a piece of advice to our Dons and Donnas, what would that be?
So in the future, I'm a little undecided between starting my own lab so I can have, I can decide what I want to research and have people helping me get to a certain goal, or going to work at a big company and, helping them achieve their goal. I would say in terms of flexibility and, being my own boss, starting my own lab would be the best option. And I would say that it also allows me to mentor students. So students of color, students who look like me, who are in high school and college, who are looking into going to careers like what I'm currently in right now, but don't know who to talk to or don't know anyone who even resembles them in pop culture, for example. I'm actually, my mother lives across, like around the corner in the area known as the jungles, right? And so when I grew up, there's so many negative connotations about living in that area. The shot training day over there, a lot of gang activity and things like that. And so when I told people I go to Dorsey, they sometimes didn't even believe me. Like, oh no, no way, like you'll never survive it. But I'm like, no, it's not actually that bad. I'm not even sure where that that stereotype even came from, because successful people can come out of the jungles, out of the hood, right? Can go to Dorsey and become something special. I know people with law degrees. I know people who became famous entertainers and athletes who went to Dorsey. Now you know someone who has a PhD in cancer research. Um, and I just hope that my example is just one of many examples that breaks that stereotype. And for any young people watching this, thinking about going to Dorsey, thinking of a dream outside of their neighborhood, they want to be a doctor, scientist, lawyer, whatever they want to be, just understand that the boundaries of your neighborhood is not a boundary for your future. And people of all walks of life can go through your neighborhood and go through your experiences and go to Dorsey or any school in a neighborhood like that and become something special, become somebody important that can contribute to society in a meaningful way. And I hope that by leading by example, whether it's by me doing this video or opening my own lab and currently and continuing to mentor students, that I can be a first hand exposure to a lot of people and prove to them like, hey, I grew up around the corner just like you. I went to the same school, sat in the same desk, maybe even had the same teachers if they're still alive. If I can do it, I'm no different from you. You can do it too.
Well, I want to thank you so much for spending the time with us and just giving back. We're always looking for alumni that can just give back to our community and to just bring back just your own personal experiences is good enough, because we do need role models. We do need to have someone to look up to and say, you know what, if he could do it, I can do it as well. So I know, it was a lot of going back and forth trying to book this appointment, but I am so glad that we finally got together. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope the best for you. Whatever road you take, I'm sure you're going to be continuing to be very successful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Go Dons.
Yo, I, the Dorsey Pride. Thank you so much.
Thank you.